Hello everybody, Andy here, and this weekend I went to Salute. Salute, if you don't know, is like, it's just a wargaming convention, except there's not really any games. So there's not a Warhammer tournament to go alongside it. It's just a bunch of independents, no GW, talking about their games and showing things off. I went almost exclusively because I really wanted, I took my whole kit in my backpack. I wanted to record a gameplay demo of Warcrow and Halo. I didn't do that. Moving on. So I did, however, get a gameplay demo of both Warcrow and Halo Flashpoint. Warcrow from Corvus Belli and Halo Flashpoint from Mantic. And I just thought so I've discovered some new things, and these are two games that I'm very interested in. So I thought I'd pass them on to you and show you some pictures in the background whilst we do it. First thing first, what size are the models? Foolishly, I completely forgot to take my standard reference unit Space Marine with me so that I could put it next to you. However, this base, and there's actually a better picture coming up soon, this base is 32mm. And even though they are a lot smaller, like thinner than Space Marines, obviously, as you can see, I would have to guess they're about the same height. We'll talk about that in a moment. The other thing to note is, whilst looking at this picture, again, there are more pictures, I actually asked, is this, because this board, this terrain they're using here, is very thick. It's a thin MDF. I'd have to say like 2mm MDF. Maybe even 3, I don't know. As opposed to what I was expecting, which was something a bit more fancy flight kind of, which was a nice, good, thick, but it's cardboard stock. Nope, this is printed MDF terrain, which actually is pretty good. I can't lie. I did ask, is this the final product? And they said yes. And both the terrain and the tokens are made out of it. So that's going to be like really very long lasting, like well wearing terrain. Moving on. I want to show you this. So this model here, I believe is actually, that's a painted model, obviously, as you can tell. This model here is just straight out of the box. My understanding is that the models will come straight out of the box. There is no preparation required at all. So you don't have to attach it to the base even. You don't have to decide on the weapons. You just, straight out of the box, you can play. All of the terrain is pre-colored. The models are blue and red. If we go to the next picture, yep. So that's one of the blue ones. That's one of the red ones. If you get the it's not the recruit edition, the smaller edition, you will get all of this terrain. You will all get 4 Spartans blue, 4 Spartans red. If you get the other edition, the Spartan edition, that's the one. Same terrain, I believe, maybe more. I think it's the same. But you get 8 red, 8 blue, and 4 elites, which are cool. Elites, if you don't know, are aliens. There you go. Cool. That's pretty much it. There you go. Yeah, as you see, a token there, which is indeed a little MDF token, which is pretty cool. I had a game. What can I say? It's exactly what we expected. Oh yeah, I managed to snap this picture. So for the command dice, in case if you know Dead Zone, you know how this game plays, and there is 1 or 2 differences, okay? Like, there's really not much. However, as you see here, the command dice, they didn't have the command dice for the final production run here, because this uses different order symbols on its dice compared to Dead Zone. So they were just using the Dead Zone dice. But these are different things, which do exactly what you would expect from Dead Zone. So on your command dice, you'll roll, I think it's 2, 3, 4 maybe, each turn, unless you have like a special ability like Tactician 1, 2, and then you can do any of these things after an activation. Shoot again, assault, fight again, +1 model. Actually, don't know what that does. Maybe that means you can bring an extra model in on the board? Because if you don't know, Halo Flashpoint is based around respawning, much like, you know, they're trying to make the board game work much like the PvP game. So when you die, you just immediately respawn. Maybe +1 model means you can take +1 model onto the board. Pass. Cool. And then those actions. So this was an interesting one. So stand up and you see crouch. Crouch is interesting. So it is an action. And you crouch, and then when you crouch, it's kind of like aiming. So you hit, I think you roll +1 dice, but also you'll be at like -1 defense or whatever it is. I can't remember what the defense bonus is, but it does both in the same thing. But if you crouch, you then have to stand up before you can move again, which is cool. I didn't know that was a thing in the game, and when they said, hey, you could do that, I was like, cool. Right. Also, I thought I'd show you this because, hey, it's good to see some stats, right? So this is the gravity hammer, close combat, obviously. Range CC, close combat. AP 1, that means it ignores 1 of the armor as you go through it. And then the keywords, again, we basically know what all of these already mean, thanks to Dead Zone. I don't actually know what smash means. I know what knockback is. I feel like I know what lethal is. ESD, Northern Andy actually explained. So ESD, I can't remember what it means exactly. I think it's electronic shield dispersion, something like that. What that is so all of the Spartans obviously have shields on them. They're like regenerating armor. At the end of each turn, you regenerate 1 shield. All Spartans have 2 shields that will regenerate one every turn. ESD just goes through one of the shields automatically, much like AP, except it's specifically for a shield instead of armor. So that's cool. That's cool. Oh, here we go. Here's the slightly better proportion. I believe that is a 12mm dice, but it might be a 14mm, and the fact that I don't know says means this means nothing. But again, this is just me trying to show you some scales. So that's 32mm base. A dice of some size. If you have a copy of Dead Zone next to you, you can measure that dice, and as you see, it comes up to the top of his knee, and I reckon you can pile up what, 3 and a smidge. 3 and a smidge. So Spartans are 3 and a smidge dice tall. How big are the dice? Pass. There you go. And then I also managed to snap a pic of these bad boys. These are just the data cards. So the way it's going to, and the shield tokens are in the top right of each card there. So the way these are going to work is, for your first box, if you get the Spartan edition, you can pick any 8 of those, or you could pick, the game is 4v4, which I believe is the same as the PvP game, for the computer game. And so you pick any 4, there's no points. They are all loaded out differently. So, for example, my guy is on the left here. He had an assault rifle. The guy on the right had a shotgun. Cool. And yeah, is what it is. I rolled really well on my attack, I've got to be honest. And it didn't do much. Yeah. Spartans, however, even that combat knife is actually really deadly in close combat. So I think that I'm already seeing the meta, guys. You got to go close combat. That AP2 ESD1 on a basic combat knife is really, really good. Like I rolled like 6 hits or something thanks to exploding 8s. I think I did 1 damage. Barely got through his armor, you know. So there you go. Cool, good to see. And then we have the overall table there. So that is the full 2x2 board, split into, I think it's 8 by 8 cubes, and that is what you will get when you buy it. And as you see, the rule books there seem to be the final version, so that's good. Yeah, I don't have a huge amount more to say about it. I guess the only thing to note is, I think if you've followed Halo Flashpoint at all, you already know what this box is now. We've even had the pre-orders go up. We know the price. We know that we can, yes, get it from third parties. It doesn't have to come direct from Mantic. Good. We've seen Master Chief. We've seen pretty much everything from the first wave. We have also, if you're not as into it as I am, seen or been told by the head of Mantic, a guy called Ronnie, what Wave 2 is going to be. So Wave 2 is going to be more Spartan models, and it's going to introduce list building if you want to do that. So I suspect the business model here is, this is a pick up and play, zero hobby. You literally just have to slot some MDF tabs together and you can play. However, if you really like what you see, you can look further, look at Wave 2, start to consider list building, etc. So all of the Spartans are really durable. That's an obvious one with heavy armor, basically like really good armor, regenerating shields, 4 hit points. That's, if you're thinking of Dead Zone, these guys are real tough nuts to crack, let me tell you. And then what they're going to do for Wave 2 is introduce points in some form. We don't know what. Or list building. Maybe it won't even be points. Maybe it'll be slots. Who knows? And if you want to start with, let's say, a guy with a rocket launcher on the board, you can do that, but he will cost more points than one of the regular boxed dudes. So there you go. They also confirmed that yes, there will be more factions coming. They haven't said which ones. I think it's pretty clear to know, you know, we're going to get more factions. If you've played the games, you can guess 4 just right up without even thinking. You've got to assume Spartans. I assume Marines will be their own faction, but maybe they'll be joined with Spartans. Who knows? The Flood are obviously their own thing, and then the Covenant. Cool. And that's it. That's it for Halo Flashpoint. I'm hoping that I can maybe get like a recorded gameplay demo of this at some point, but you know, it's hard to figure out. Well, basically, I'd have to go to Nottingham, and that's a bit of a trek, to be honest with you. So there you go. Yeah. Cool. Okay, with Halo Flashpoint done, let's talk about Warcrow. Warcrow. So for those that don't know, Warcrow is from Corvus Belli. It is what I'm going to say, right? It is a generic fantasy game. And when I say generic fantasy, I realize that sounds bad. People don't like things to be generic. Not me. I love generic, okay? Generic with a twist. Give me that. It means I know roughly what I'm getting, and you just get to sprinkle your own little bit of flavour upon me, and I can bask upon it. If something is too alien, like, let's say, Age of Sigmar, where there's nothing to latch onto, nothing to emote with, you know, it's not my vibe, easily. But this is basically D&D, Tolkien, slight twist, awesome. I'm in. I know what dwarves are, I know what elves are, I know what humans are, I know what orcs are. Easy. And so then I just needed them to... So I already like the world, okay? It's a cool world with cool models. Right. Or is it? Yeah, it is. So you see there, that is the Winds from the North. That is the first product that we will be able to buy for Warcrow. Warcrow Adventures is already a thing. That's on Kickstarter and been and gone. Everything here, again, I asked, is this the final production run of everything? Like, is this how the tokens will feel? Is this how the cardboard houses and terrain will feel? The guy said yes. And that's again really good. Clearly something happened last year to make these smaller more independent companies go to the same suppliers, because this is MDF just like the Halo is MDF, and I swear the finish is the same, and I've never seen these before. Something happened that made thin MDF more cost effective than chipboard. And I say good, because honestly, I much prefer it. It feels really sturdy. It almost feels like this is good enough that I don't need to go and look for acrylics. This is good. This is good. There you go. If you look below that Warcrow Winds from the North box, you will see 6 models, of which I managed to get 1. They are Bucklerman, a demo event miniature. There you go. Luckily, I was one of the first 6. I was actually the 6th to turn up, and you got them if you received a demo of Warcrow. And obviously they said you do have to have a demo to get it, because free models, people just take them, you know. So I got the demo, which I wanted to do anyway, obviously, as mentioned. So how does it play? Well, before we do that, let's quickly just that was the actual booth. You could get a demo of Warcrow and of Infinity. I didn't do Infinity, which was actually a mistake, because I want to play Infinity, and I just completely forgot because it was a big convention, and by the time I'd remembered, I was tired. There you go. And then stat cards. So this was actually good for me. So obviously I have played Warcrow Adventures, but when this came out, honestly, I'd forgotten how Warcrow Adventures worked. So seeing this was really good, because the guy told me this is how it all works. Orc Hunters, I assume the flag on the left with the number 20 is points cost, but I actually don't know. Odd if so, because normally points cost is what people are going to FAQ to like change balance. So having it written on a card is a bit, maybe not. It's kind of in vogue to not put points on cards at the moment. But anyway, MOV move is 3-2, open brackets 10. Now, not knowing what that is, that immediately turns me off from the game, right? From understanding the game and the card. Because it's like, hold on, why have you given me 3 numbers, a dash, and a brackets? What are you doing? That's quite a scary number. Anyway, it's been explained. 3-2, the numbers there are the number of strides you can take. So, Warcrow doesn't use inches or centimeters, it uses a stride. Your base of all of your models is 2 strides. And your base is 30 mil, therefore a stride is 15 millimeters. It's fine. It's a weird choice. I'm not going to lie, it's a really weird choice. But fine. Whatever. I have to assume that they said, hey, we want our miniatures to be on this base size because that's best for them. Now let's design the rest of the game around that. Whereas honestly, I would have actually much preferred them to just say our bases are going to be 40 mil and a stride is half that, therefore 20. Just 15 is weird. Anyway, the way movement works in this is you leapfrog, so you put down your tape measure, whatever it is. There's a movement widget at the front of your base, and then you move by just placing your model on the other end of that base. So you move front to back instead of front to front, as you do in most games. That's cool. I actually quite like that. It speeds up movement a heck of a lot. I think that is a good movement system. We've seen it being done in Shatterpoint and MCP as well, and among other games. So I like that movement. Also in this game, so you have to move in straight lines. So actually, quite similar to Kill Team. If you think how we guessed the Kill Team movement system was going to work with its you can move 3 circle. Nope, you could just move anything. It didn't matter. That was just a weird thing they did. So here, it's actually your first movement will be 3 strides, and that has to be straight. There's no, I'm going to move 1 stride, turn, 1 stride, turn. There's nope. You move straight for 3, and then you place, and then you move straight for 2, which is interesting. And then the 10 is your charge distance. There you go. That's all. But the charge, therefore, because it's just one number, is unbroken. You have to have a straight line to your charge, and you have to finish base to base. There's no engagement range of like 1 stride or anything. It's just base to base. Wounds is W is wounds. WP is willpower. So if you ever have to take a morale check, you would roll 1 dice, and if you roll a filled in hit, then you pass. There you go. Otherwise, you fail. Morale is morale. So that is in some instances you can take a stress. If once you have over your morale, you have to take willpower checks to continue to stay on the board, basically. And I can't remember what AVG is at all. there you go. Maybe that's the number of models in the unit. I really don't know. And then we get all of their dice. Now, I remember a big issue I had with Warcrow Adventures was actually the dice system. It was not intuitive, and I'm colorblind, and I struggled. I really struggled. If we zoom out a bit, this is small text. You know, this is not... Personally, I would have liked to have seen things a bit more readable. A bit more readable. Anyway, I will say though, in playing it, it worked fine for me. However, not what I would have done if designing a game purely from an accessibility standpoint. Let's keep going. What else have we got? These were the models. The orcs, the northern tribe side, was painted. The hegemony of Emberkin, I think that's maybe what it's called, was not painted. The guy that painted them, also the guy that gave the demo, did a beautiful job painting them. You can really see what they're supposed to be. If you play Infinity, oh, this is just of the cardboard terrain. It looks good. Yeah, I like it. If you play Infinity, you will know that all the bases there are 25 mil. So this going up to 30 mil is good. However, I reckon scale creep is still going to happen, and these models are already on the edges of the bases. Whereas Infinity, they've started to scale creep, but not increase the base size. So you're getting both of your feet sticking over the edges of a lot of bases. These models are much bigger, by the way, which I really like. I think the bigger scale is much better. But if I'm honest, I would have preferred all the bases to be larger, like 40 mil bases with the same size model just on it, because we're already having, you know, because of the increased size, we're already having feet over edges. I was like, they've got nowhere to go. They've got nowhere to advance to if the market in general scale creeps again. There you go. As you see, lovely models, beautifully painted, but also really dynamic posing. Like, really good. I quite like the Northern Tribes because they are just some traditional looking orcs, you know? Look great. This was just one of the Hegemony of Embersig because I took a picture, because why not? And this is some other data cards. So you can see this guy here is a character, as is this one. This is kind of your leader. He's got lots going on. A lot of once per thing, passives, an ability to stress them so that you get more when you attack, but then obviously that plays into your morale, etc, etc. But you can also choose to attach characters to units. So this Alborg, yes, it's a bad name, I know, could have been attached to the Orc Hunters, and then instead of using this profile, it uses this profile, which is pretty cool. I like that. I like that. I like that you could just attach it. And then same over here. The only thing that wasn't used in this game is we didn't use any magic at all. The guy said that's because they're still fine-tuning the magic, so they don't want to kind of put information out. Also, it vastly complicates the game. If you remove magic from the game, it's a relatively simple game, as I played it, and you're just learning dice rolling, really, and like when you can do swaps, etc. But once you add magic, apparently that's when the game gets complicated. People don't like using the word complicated these days. They like to use the word deep. So let's say the game gets deep. And then this is the model. I put it together and sprayed it and painted did a single coat of Space Wolves Grey on the base. And I'm going to be painting that in tomorrow's stream. Tomorrow being Tuesday. So there you go. Cool, cool, cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm not going to do the base color. It's called the Black Legion, so I guess the armor's black. That's all I've got so far. Anyway, with that said, I'm basically done. But let's have a quick chat about some other things. So only 3 more pictures, and then we will call it a day. Oh, sorry. Warcrow seemed fun. There you go. However, as the guy pointed out, like, it really kicks off once you're using magic. Therefore, this was a really, really basic thing. I'm actually quite excited, potentially, for Warcrow Adventures, because it's all app-driven, so I could legitimately solo play it, and enjoy just being in the world of Warcrow, which, Lindworm, which is kind of what I want. I'm not really that fussed about playing more games, but, like, I think it's a cool world, that generic fantasy with a twist, and I just want to be in it. I don't necessarily want to inflict my interest on other people and force them to play this instead of something they'd rather play, but, like, to just be like, oh yeah, I can solo play that whole game and, like, just be in the world and enjoy it, and then, yeah. Anyway, so I'm excited about that. Okay, this is Moonstone. I about a month ago I played Moonstone. It was a perfectly fine game with some really interesting mechanics based around the combat system. You don't use dice, you use cards, but not like in Malifaux where you're just using cards as random number generator. You're making decisions with your cards. However, I went into it expecting to be absolutely blown away and have my world rocked. And it did not do that, because of a few accessibility issues and a few questionable design choices with, like, graphic design. And I cannot stand the aesthetic the game chose. So because of that, I haven't replayed it. I should, because I should play it again once I understand the combat system, because I think the combat system is really fun. Personal choice, I don't like the models. Lots of people love the models. That's purely personal. And colorblind issues. The colors they use for the cards are all, like, two of them look identical. I genuinely couldn't tell them apart. That was the pink and the blue. And then I also found how you reference the regular combat of the game very confusing. Like the melee combat, I was like, what's going on here? And so, yeah, I think I also had a slightly poor experience of the melee combat, because the first 2 times I was fighting a fairy, and both times it managed to draw, like, the one card it needed to do its ultimate guard, which there was actually legitimately no way I could have hit it, which for the opponent was super lucky. For me, I had a hand of like 8 cards, he drew 2 and he beat me, and I was like, that doesn't make sense, what's happening? And he did it twice in a row, maybe even 3 times, and it just left me really confused. That could have just been an unlucky draw, but, like, I don't know, you know, the guy developed the system, like, in such a unique way. It was a bit, it felt wrong that such a feel bad could happen in a system designed with so much knowledge about. Anyway, I had a bad first experience due to a few issues, but I believe there's a really good, interesting game there that I should go back to play. I've still got the models, the cards, etc., so I will at some point play again. Relicblade was there. So Relicblade is, I got tuned into this again about a month and a half. I just love the artwork of Relicblade. I don't know, like, that's literally it. The game itself seems fine, standard stuff. You know, nothing as innovative as maybe Moonstone. It's just a pretty standard looking skirmish game, but I just think the artwork's really cute and cool. There you go. Almost completely the opposite of Moonstone for me. It's made by one dude in the US, and I thought, oh, this is the first time I've actually seen it out and about, so I took a picture of that. And then finally, gosh, this video's gone on a bit longer than I expected. This is the Galadrim Elvish Warriors against the Goblin Town Goblins that I played on Sunday. This is the second game of MESBG, Middle-earth strategy battle game that I've played. And I'm kind of trying to decide whether or not I need to go into it a bit more, whether I need to get a bit hyped about MESBG, because everybody I know says it's the best game GW's ever done, which isn't saying much, but it's saying enough. And so it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm undecided on it yet, but I will say I hate the models. Yeah. If you look at, these are Elvish warriors, okay? They're a thing. And then I look at the recent, these models do very little for me. They're in a bad scale. They're not particularly crisp on deets. They're a bit meh. Alongside me starting to look at and potentially be interested in MESBG, I also looked at the new Warcry, Lumineth, like Yelandri Tide dudes or whatever, can't recall. And I was like, those Lumineth, I would buy just to have models. They tick so many boxes for me. I think they're awesome. They're elves. These are also elves. And they do nothing for me. They are actively a detractor for me. That's really frustrating because it seems like a potentially interesting game. Again, I'm only a second game so far, but yeah, I don't know. If you've made it to the end of the video, tell me what you think about MESBG, about Warcrow, and about Halo. Anyway, there you go. That was my weekend. If you're here now, do check me out tomorrow as well, when I'm going to be live streaming me painting my Buckler Man, and also just hanging out with the community, having a chat, getting my hobby done. Alright, well, thanks for watching, everybody. Stay gangster, stay hydrated. Bye.